My name is Fabianna F Mosqueda. This is my last year at QCC. I'm a digital art and design major, and last semester for fall, I took Introduction to Video with Professor Kenneth Powell. I made two films actually were able to make it into the exhibition this year. One of them is a silent short film called Me on Paper, and the second one is actually my final assignment that it's called Me, You, Not Us. For my silent short film, Me on Paper, I did have a vision of what I wanted to do. The thing is spoiler, there's this effect where I actually I'm trying to peel off my face and my arm. I knew that I wanted to incorporate that. So actually that was the first thing that I did. That's the first thought, and the whole idea of the film is actually based around that, the anxiety that you feel and all of that. My work being displayed in the show did change how I see myself as an artist. I feel like at the beginning I wasn't really confident. Art was a hobby that I had when I was really young, and then I left it and then I came back to it. So I don't know, it feels great. And I feel like in comparison, I was on the show last semester, but with two drawings, so more traditional. So I feel like being again at the show with now films feels really great, because I feel like this is more me. This is more of who I am, the topics and the aesthetic that I'm interested in, and the fact that people liked it, that, my professor actually picked that for the show. I don't know, it feels like it gave me that extra confidence that I feel like I needed. For my films, I had zero experience with cameras and editing at all. I feel like I'm an old lady with technology. I'm not good with cameras. I'm not good with microphones or any of that. I feel like the lack of experience was good and bad at the same time, because I feel like it was bad because there were so many ways that I feel like I could have approached the topic better, or changes that now after taking the class I feel like, oh, I could have done this differently. However, I feel like the lack of experience, because I just knew the basics, made me be more creative. For example, for my silent short film, Me on Paper, that's filmed on a corner of my room. That's the whole thing. So it made me be more creative because I needed to come up with angles, how to tell the story and all of that. And for my final, Me, You, Not Us, it was more of I was only with myself. I was the only actress there. So it was how can I come up with a creative way of doing this? There were probably some other stuff that I could have done if I, had a lot of experience, but I didn't. And I don't know, I feel like it helped me be more creative, and I feel like it came out really good. So I'm happy. So it's very different coming from traditional art and video. I feel like they're two completely different stuff. With my last pieces of the exhibition, they were drawings. It was a class 2D design. So I had experience with the pencil, how to draw some stuff. So I feel like in that way, it was easier for me. It was more of oh, I remember how to do this. There is a better technique to do it. Let's do it this way. But with film, it was the complete opposite, because I didn't even know what to do at all. The first assignment that I did for the class was a music video remix about German expressionism, something that I love, an art style that I completely love. So I feel like I was really lucky for that. At the beginning, it was really hard. I felt very overwhelmed because even though you need to pick a song and then a few clips from movies and stuff that were provided, for the song, I knew the song right away. But for the clips, I felt very overwhelmed because it was, what can I do? How do I cut? How do I make clean transitions? But I feel like thinking about it very easily of don't overthinking. You like this scene, let's maybe use it, create a story with it. I feel like by the end of that project, I felt very confident. I was actually very proud of myself, even though it's something a silly video. I felt like by then I was yes, I can do this. I'm good at it. For both of my films, I try to put as much as myself as I can. So I figured that why not incorporate the other aspects of art that I like. So for the first one, the silent short film, I decided to do drawing because I had experience with it, because I liked it. So why not do it? And I feel like it came out really well. It played a huge role in the whole thing, so I really liked it. And for my final, I didn't want it, because it was my final for video, I wanted to incorporate as much as me and my identity as I could. So I was I already did drawing, I'm doing film, let's maybe do some painting next. So I feel like that's how it kind of came up. I'm planning on inviting my mom to the show opening. She has been my #1 fan this whole time, and I love her so much. It's funny because my mom loves all of it. Like, she's very supportive on it. She gets scared really easily and she doesn't really like horror. However, she loves all of the stuff that I do. And for my final, me, you, me, not us, there's like a whole mirror thing that I still have around my house. My mom doesn't like that mirror anymore after the film, but she still like loves it so much. Yes, she has seen them. She makes me like, are you done with it? Are you done? Like, let me see it now. And like, she makes me send it to her and she shows all of her friends. Like, I don't know, she's really supportive and very proud of me and I love her. There is a specific message that I wanted to send specifically with me on paper, my silent short film. The main message is like, the anxiety that it can cause you. I feel like sometimes when you're an artist and you have like a creative like blog or like an art blog, it's very frustrating. And I wanted to like show that, but in a more graphic like way. Personally, sometimes like I really want to draw something and it doesn't come out the way that I want to. And specifically for this film, I decided to choose a portrait because, you know, I wanted to also show that I am the issue at the end of the day. Like, you feel that way when you want to do something and you're gonna replicate it. So it's like, I cannot draw it maybe because I am not talented enough. I cannot draw a self-portrait because maybe my face is the one that's wrong. So then I feel like I wanted to like show all of that in a very like graphic way. So that's where like the peeling the face starts and like ripping out their arms and all of that, because I feel like also I wanted to show that whole thing of like artists are eccentric and they put like the whole soul, blood, sweat and tears into paper, again in a very like graphic literal way. Like, I wanted to like show that because I feel like sometimes you get too attached to it. And I don't know, I feel like that's the whole message of like the whole anxiety, frustration, like how you feel desperate to complete a work and you cannot do it to the point where you just want to like pull out your hair, strip off your skin. So that's what I did on the film in a literal way. I feel like the main thing for me to overcome an artist block will be to just do my favorite stuff and enjoy, like remind myself why I like art and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So it's like, look at my old art. What did I like about it? Look at my sketches. How's like actually my whole process? Watch some movie like that. For example, I really like horror movies, not for the horror, but because of the aesthetic of them. So it's like, oh, this angle is really cool. Maybe I can do something like that. Or I feel like it's little stuff like that that help me like motivate myself and remind me why I like doing art. Because I feel like if I don't remind myself why I like it, I'm just gonna be on that block forever and crying forever. My favorite time to work artistically, I feel like it's whenever I have the motivation to it. Like if I'm like, I have a free time and I have an idea that I want to work on, it's easy to like put on my headphones and then just like do it regardless of where I am. I have done art in the library here at QCC. I've done it at home, sometimes on the bus. Like I feel like it's whenever like inspiration hits me. Being an artist has changed so much the way I see other people's artwork, because it's not only, oh, that movie was cool. It's like, oh my God, the whole process that they went through, especially with stop motion. It's not so much of like, for example, one of my favorite films is Coraline. It's not so much of like, oh, I love it, you know? It's really cool and creepy. It's like, that was stop motion. They made like each little thing, like every single thing that it's on the movie was handmade. Someone made it. I feel like that's like really amazing. The same with like, I feel like with art, it's like, how long did it take this person to be able to do this? Like a sculpture, like looking at all of those little details. I feel like it has made me more like appreciated of the behind the scenes instead of just what's in front of me. My plans for the future, this is my last semester, so it's transferring to a 4-year. And on a more long term, I'll say that I want to make another film. I have like a very few tiny ideas, but I definitely want to do film, this time for myself, not for an assignment. I still want to be part of this hobby that I have carried with me for so many years. I want to do something like that. I don't know, it makes me happy.